All right, it is now time to do another one of these Emporium tours. The Emporium is simply just our basement. Me and the boys, Ethan, Brady, and Lincoln, my sons, we collect a lot of different things. And over the series of videos, kind of wanting to show off some of the things we collect down here in the Emporium. We've kind of done this before, but kind of want to give a new update. And we're going to start here with a show that is probably my oldest memory of any television show, and that's the Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard, I believe, aired from 1979 to 1985. I was born in 82, and my first memories of watching a television show were watching the Dukes of Hazzard. I remember it very clearly watching it with my grandpa, my dad's dad, in West Virginia. We would visit, and we'd watch the Dukes of Hazzard. He loved the Dukes of Hazzard. So I want to show off some of the Dukes of Hazzard items we got, and I'm going to start way down at the bottom. I shouldn't move these to the top. These are the first pieces of Duke stuff that I got. These two trays back there. You see, this one's pretty rusty. This one's very rusty. And when I was a kid, I got two of these. I bought them. I don't know if I got one for Christmas or I don't know the story of how I got them, but I had two. I gave one to my grandpa, which was that one. And I kept that one and I used it. I used it on Friday nights. I remember eating chicken noodle soup on it, probably spilling it on there, and French onion dip and pizza and whatever. My grandpa didn't use it much, and his was in better shape. Now, it's rough shape right now, but when he got finished with it, it was almost like brand new because he didn't use it much. He passed away in 1998, and when he passed away, I said, I want his Dukes of Hazzard tray. And those are the first two pieces of Dukes of Hazzard stuff I got. Like I said, I watched this show when I was a kid, when I was very young, and then it might have had reruns and such on for a year or two. I would have only been 3 when it went off the air, and it's like I watched it, and I remember it very clearly, and then I didn't watch it for years and years because there was no DVD, there's no streaming services. And then it came back on when I believe I was in 7th grade on the Nashville Network, the reruns. And I started watching it, and it was like opening a time capsule because I remember that. I remember it was stuff I had forgot about, but then it started coming back to me. And I started loving the Dukes of Hazzard again. So I'll show off a few items, starting with this. I showed you the trays. This is a Dukes of Hazzard trash can that a good friend of mine gave me when I was growing up. They had picked this up for me. I love this item, Dukes of Hazzard trash can. I had one like it. It wasn't this one. And then you got these Dukes of Hazzard Boss Hog and Roscoe signs. You got these re-elect Boss Hog, JD Hog, re-elect Roscoe P. Coltrane. I picked those up in the Smokies at one of the Cooters stores. I've been to one of the Smokies. I have not been to the one in Virginia or in Nashville. So those aren't old, but I really like those. And then I've got these kind of like a little scene set up here. A mixture of the cars are Dukes, 90% of them, or 75% of them. The other items were just from another set the boys had. So you got the General Lee there. This is one of the police cars, Boss's Cadillac. This says Hazzard County on it, but it is a newer car. It's not one of the old ones like these three are. And then some of these other cop cars, these were just some Hot Wheels items. Most of that was just Hot Wheels items. I also got these figures here. I really like these. I'd love to have all of them. I think Mego makes these. Of course, you got Boss Hog here. I got 2 Boss Hogs, one there. There's a Cooter. There's Luke and Bo. They have a Daisy, a Roscoe, and Enos, and Uncle Jesse. I don't have any of those. They're expensive. They got them on eBay. Get the whole set. It could be a few $100s. So those I picked up for just a couple dollars. I got one at a Goodwill. I don't remember where I got all the others. One of my sister-in-laws, her mom was a collector of tons of stuff. She loved the Dukes. And when she passed away, they got rid of all her stuff. And so I got a lot of my Duke stuff from her. She'd give me stuff before she passed away. And then when she did pass away, they gave me some more items. So some of this, like I said, most of this stuff's older. The puzzle's older. Some of this stuff, though, is a little newer, especially when it became popular again. Like this case here, this is not super old by 20 years, but it's not 40 years. Those I got 3 of those board games. Those are all old. Card games old. I love this Boss Hog cup. I believe that was from McDonald's. I know it was from McDonald's. See the McDonald's on the back of it. They had a set of those. I don't know if you had to pay a couple of dollars extra or they came with I don't think they came with a Happy Meal. You know, they used to do these cups sets and stuff. That's the only one I got though. I love it. I know there's a Roscoe. There's a few more. I love that Boss Hog puzzle. Some more puzzles down there. There's a coloring book, scrapbook. There's a Dukes of Hazzard cowboy hat, like a kid's cowboy hat. That's old. And then there's several different General Lees. Some of those are not super old. They got a few more items down here. There's a Boss Hog. This is also made by, I believe that's Mego, that made the Boss Hog there. Still in the package. I do have a bow that's not in the package. And I felt like I had another Boss Hog, but I don't see it. There's also a watch here. I know that was an item I got from my sister-in-law's mom. Some more coloring books. They're in plastic. There's a cast picture. This was somebody made this. My sister-in-law made it. Actually I think she made kind of like a little bit of a Easter basket for the boys, and she knew they loved the Dukes, so that was nice. Another of those games there. Oh, there's another Boss Hog, but that's in the package as well. And this item here, this little display, was made by a guy we went to church with, and he's passed away. He passed away just a few years ago, and he made this for the boys when they were younger and said, hey, I made this little display here. The boys could put their Hot Wheels in it. I said, oh, thank you so much. But I already knew what I was going to do. I was going to put some General Lees in it and some of my extra. There's some Daisy Jeeps and some Cadillacs. There's a sticker from the Boar's Nest, which that was, and the Cooters, that's from in Gatlinburg there. I think we got both of those there. These were some ticket stubs when the boys toured Warner Brothers, which was where most of the episodes of the Dukes of Hazzard were filmed there in California. And then some photos here. This is a photo of us at the unmarked grave of Denver Pyle, who played Uncle Jesse. That's in Texas. This was in Covington, Georgia, Conyers, Georgia. That's the original Boar's Nest in the background. It's a church now. They used that for the first 5 or 6 episodes before they moved back to California. That's also there in Georgia. This is Boss's grave. First time I've been to Boss's grave 3 times and tried to go a 4th, but it was closed because it's a Jewish cemetery and they were closed on Saturday for the Sabbath. So that was the first time I went in 2013. Took the boys back. I've been there 3 times, I guess. And that is in, I think that's in Culver City, California, where Sorrel Book is buried. Still want to go to Roscoe's grave. He's buried in Indiana, near Kentucky line. He's from Kentucky, I believe. So that's some photos. There's also another photo here, right there. This is in the Smokies at one of the car museums. If you notice there, it's me in the front, Ethan in the main back, and Lincoln was not around. That's Brady. He's going to be 16 this coming June. He was 3 weeks old. Look how young. He was just, some people never get a picture in the General Lee, and he got one when he was born mid-June, and that was, I think, the first week of July. We already had a vacation planned, and so we went. But there's also a thermos there in the back, along with some cars. And got one more item here. It's a little dark here. This is a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox. This is an original. There is a one with Coy and Vance on it that I have bid on eBay, but over the last few years, they really went up in price. And I've got a few different lunchboxes here. I'll show off some of the others in just a second when I talk about the next section. But love the Dukes of Hazzard. Still watch it. All the boys and I still watch it. Not every day or every week or even every month, but certain times a year we'll get it out and watch 4 or 5 episodes. Now, I talked about the Dukes of Hazzard being the earliest memory of a show I watched. This is actually my favorite show. Dukes of Hazzard is top 5, but the Andy Griffith Show is by far my favorite show. So I'm going to show off a little bit of Andy Griffith. There's a little bit of Gomer here. There's a little bit of Beverly Hillbillies as well. I'll kind of be quick with this. See, up top you got the Andy Griffith Show. There's a TV Land board game there. There's also a picture of the boys and I in Mount Airy at the Andy Griffith Museum. And it's in North Carolina. There's some other DVD sets, a VHS set. There's another VHS set there. I'll go to the rest of the pictures in a minute. This is all Duke's or Andy stuff. There's actually an autographed picture of Don Knotts in the back. It's not autographed to me. It's autographed and there's a message to someone, but it's not me. My mom picked that up, I believe, at a garage sale. There's also a copy of Ghost of Mr. Chicken, one of Don Knotts' movies he made. There's some more VHS sets, another trivia game. There's an Apple Dumpling Gang like record in the back. Might be like a laser disc. I don't know. Can't remember exactly the details on that. There's also a book that George Lindsay wrote, his kind of autobiography. My dad went on a work trip, and he bought that for me, and I kept it. I read it and loved it. And these pickles. There's a famous episode, The Pickle Story, The Andy Griffith Show. One of the best episodes ever. Aunt B makes these pickles, and they're disgusting. And they hate them, and they have to try to get rid of them, and then she makes more because she thinks they like them. Me and Ethan made a bunch of pickles with my Aunt Sherry in West Virginia. We planned this. We had jars and picked up all the cucumbers, and we made them, and we loved them. They were so good first couple days. We brought some home to Ohio. She kept some. I waited about a week, and I'm like, oh, they're disgusting. They soured really bad. I ended up giving a few away, and there's a few people that liked them. At least they said they did. I think they did. Some people who kind of like maybe more sour stuff. I like sour stuff, but not these. And I called my aunt. I said, have you been eating those pickles? She's like, they're disgusting. They went bad quick. So they got rid of all of them. But I saved a jar to put them with Andy Griffith stuff. So those were actually made by us. I wouldn't want to eat them now. And then there's some photos. We'll get to that in a minute. This hat I got when I was a teenager. It's a Gomer Pyle hat. I went on a youth trip when I was in junior high to Tennessee. And I don't know. I picked that up. I wore it, actually. I was like 7th grade. And then here's some more Gomer stuff. There's some like comic book style books, Gomer. There's a couple TV guides there, Gomer. I love the TV guide there of Andy and Gomer and Andy, Barney, and Gomer. That's from just says March 21st through the 27th, somewhere in the 60s. There's some more VHS, Ernest T, the Darlings. And then there's some Beverly Hillbillies items. There's these figures. There's 2 Jeds, one in the package, one out. Ellie Mae and Jethro. There's a puzzle back there. There's another autographed picture of Max Baer Jr., Jethro, but it's not autographed to us. I don't know where I got that. I think they got that at a garage sale as well, or maybe I don't know where. I think my mom got that as well. There's also some more games down here. A couple Beverly Hillbillies games. There's a thermos. It's not really Hillbillies. It kind of goes with the stuff. And then a few more VHS. There's a few DVDs. There's the movie. I love the Beverly Hillbillies movie. It's not as good as the show. But as far as those remakes of TV shows to movies, that was the best one, I think. These were from a little army set, but I put them there because they kind of go with the Gomer stuff. Some of the photos, though, I mentioned that one. This is actually at, that's at Myers Lake, which is Franklin Canyon Reservoir in Los Angeles. We've been there a few times. If you look at that, there's the lake in the background. It's harder to see it because it has grown up more, and it's not as big. That photo makes it look really good. That's another photo. That's all the boys. That was from 2002, I believe. And we've reenacted it when the opening comes on. We've reenacted that opening right at the exact same spot. We've done that a few times. That's the Franklin Canyon Reservoir. I actually got a speeding ticket there. I failed to yield, I think. I wasn't speeding. It was caught on the camera. And then this is Mayberry Courthouse, once again in Mount Airy. They've done a good job down there. There's another photo of me and Ethan and Brady. What a great picture. Feet up. Ethan on the phone. That's in Mount Airy, North Carolina. That's one of our trick-or-treat events. Carrie's Aunt B. Ethan is Gomer. Barney there in the front, played by Brady, and then I'm Floyd. We did Andy Griffith trick-or-treating several times. There's a Brady dressed up like Ernest T. Ethan one year as Goober. A lot of great memories. A lot of great Andy stuff we've done. That picture right there, that's of the grave of Irene Ryan, which is Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies. That's her grave in... No, I am wrong. That's down here. It's the same cemetery, folks. That is the picture at Irene Ryan, Granny's grave. But that's in Santa Monica. And this is the same, not only the same cemetery, but the same mausoleum. That's Hal Smith. Otis Campbell from the Andy Griffith Show. Love going to old graves. For items, you got a Beverly Hillbillies lunchbox here. I showed the Duke's off a second ago. This is a hard one to find. I bought that on eBay. And then here's another hard one to find, a Gomer Pyle lunchbox. And they're in pretty good shape. Get a little bit of nicks and stuff, but no big rust. Gomer, Dukes, Beverly Hillbillies. Thanks for watching.